I am so grateful that you guys are able to join us tonight. Nicole McFarland is a good friend of mine. We've been friends for not 100 years, maybe 50. Maybe
Yeah.
50. But yeah, because it's like half as long as I was cutting hair, to be honest. And I don't want to, it's her story to tell, but she has an amazing life-changing story about why you're so passionate with DIY. And
Yes.
so gracious to come on for our Tuesday night experience and teach us how to do DIY. But you're also going to share ingredients, label reading, all that?
Sure, I can do that. I didn't know, since this was a make and take, I didn't know if we were going to want to make something. We talked about making a body butter. I've got all my ingredients here. If we're going to move into that, if we don't, we don't have to.
Wow us, girl. Show us what you got.
All right. So to start my story, I make DIY as much as I can where it makes sense. Young Living has enough products for me to buy most of my things. So I do buy most of my things, but I've got, I've had eczema as a child. So body butter, as an example, is one of those things that is non-negotiable. I have to have a body butter. I don't do lotion. So I DIY body butter. I don't really DIY my laundry detergent. We're going to talk about that later. I use Steve's laundry detergent, but I add some additional products to it because I work out. And so I need a little boost for to get odors out of my clothes. I make my own lip balm. And that's a fairly new thing that I started doing. So where I can do DIY, I will. Where I can get where it allows me to get products cheaper if possible, but still of high quality. So the reason why I do DIY for a lot of things is simply for the same reasons that you guys all probably use non-toxic products. My body has just given up on synthetic preservatives. So even if you buy a natural product, except for Young Living, they're putting these synthetic preservatives inside their products. So when I started my journey prior to Young Living, I had a laundry detergent and I had a dish soap that both had a synthetic preservative in it that caused me significant issues. I had rashes and bumps all over my face. It moved to my cheeks, moved to my eyelids. And so once I realized, or once I discovered and had done my research, because I researched it for months, once I had finally done enough research, I identified that these preservatives, while the other ingredients in the product would have otherwise been okay, these preservatives were pretty bad. If you look at the research on them, and they're too hard to pronounce, I'll put them I'll paste them inside the comments for this session. But they wreak havoc not only on me but on so many others. So that is why I DIY. I enjoy it, except for when I can buy it, because if I can buy it, I'm just going to do that. So like I said, I brought all my ingredients to show you how I make my body butter. If you guys were able to purchase your ingredients beforehand, then great, you can join in with me. I'm going to just walk through what those ingredients are, unless I can pause for a second if there are any questions.
Hey, really quick, what's the difference between body butter and lotion?
Body butter is made of butter. So like it'll have shea butter, mango butter, some have cocoa butter. So cocoa butter, kokum butter. There is a list or laundry list of butters out there that contribute to making a body butter. The other thing that a body butter does not have that a lotion may have is a lotion may have water, which is why preservatives are required. So that is another thing. I didn't explain that earlier. My enjoyment of doing DIY is using oil-based products. If you put water in a product, it must have a preservative to prevent bacteria growth. So anyone who's making a product with water in it, they are obligated to put a preservative in it. Most companies will use potassium sorbate, citric acid. We drink citric acid. They'll use a food grade preservative. those preservatives aren't always strong enough to allow a product to have an extensive shelf life, which a lot of companies want. They want your product to be able to last 2-3 years. Well, when you're using, depending upon how much water you have in your product, it determines what type of strength your preservative needs to be. So body butters have oils and butters, where lotions will have oil. It could potentially have oils and butters as well, less of them, more water. Some make their lotions with aloe vera juice, so that's an option as well. But aloe vera, from my understanding, I haven't researched aloe vera thoroughly enough, but of the minimum research I've done on aloe vera, I believe that also needs a preservative as well. So that's the difference.
So
any other questions? Oh.
I have a question on that. So do you prefer them body butter versus the lotion because then you don't have a preservative then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I've used body butters forever just because of my eczema. So it's just historically, I used lotion when I was growing up, but I was dealing with having eczema all the time reoccurring. Yeah. So I moved into butters later on, not the ingredients at the time didn't matter. Yeah. So I've always just liked a thicker butter.
Okay.
Hey, Nicole.
Yes.
Would you say that the butters, when you said thicker, absolutely, but they almost put like a barrier without being greasy? Because I know that I use a butter because I work outside so much, right? Which you probably do too, right? So it creates that kind of a barrier, where lotions don't do that.
Yeah, so they stick around a little bit longer on the skin, and it's not greasy, but they stay a little bit longer. So when we talk about viscosity of oils and butters, a butter is going to have your thickest viscosity, where an oil or anything that's loose, that's I'll say loosened to a lotion, the viscosity is way different. So it's going to absorb in your skin a lot faster than a butter will. And just like Janice said, while it's conditioning your skin, you don't feel greasy or oily.
Yeah.
Any other questions on that? All right. Well, then I will get into how I do this. I've got a bowl. I don't use my, some of you might do this, but I use the utensils that I use are specific to my DIY stuff. I don't cross-contaminate. So I've got a bowl that's specific to my butters. I've got a hand mixer, excuse me, that is specific. I only use it for my butters. I'll show you that in a second. And I've got my little handy spatula to cut the butters. The butters will come in, I get unrefined butter. I get unrefined everything, organic and unrefined. Some things require refinement, even if it's a low temperature refinement, they have to, they cannot call it unrefined if it is. So as an example, I use unrefined shea butter from this company called Better Shea Butter. I took it out of the pack already, so it's not in there. And then I use, so unrefined shea butter is part of the ingredients. I use mango butter as part of the ingredients. One thing to note is that unrefined shea butter is really earthy. So if you don't like earthy, then you're going to want to find essential oils that will cut that earthiness out of it. I use lemongrass and lavender. By the time it's done, it smells like a lemon cookie. I was shocked because when I first started doing this, I used shea, but I didn't use any essential oils in it at the time because I wasn't with Young Living yet. And it was, it was a little bit because I don't like the smell of earthy. I'm not earthy. I can't do earthy. So it was a little bit on me, but the essential oils will cut it. Again, I use 100% pure mango butter. This, you'll notice the pack does not say unrefined. It is pure, it is organic, but the unrefined, it has to be refined to remove some of the God, I'm losing the word. It's got to remove some of the pitting and stuff that's in the butter. In order to do that, they do have to heat it very low in order to get those things out. I then use coconut oil This coconut oil I used a different brand previously, but this coconut oil is from Global Goods. It is cold pressed, unrefined. It is a great coconut oil. We actually have been using their vanilla, and it's fantastic. So those are I would call these the thicker of those three that I just mentioned, the thicker of the ingredients. Coconut oil, as you know, when it heats up, the viscosity of it changes slightly, but it is hard in cold temperatures and not hard in warmer temperatures. So that the coconut oil is necessary in order to get your butter really fluffy. If you don't use coconut oil, if you're allergic to coconut oil, I have yet to find another oil that will keep your butter whipped. Because when we're doing this, it's going to be whipped. It's going to, it's condensed when I start, but it rises. It's really nice and whipped.
Can I ask you
Yep.
real quick? You mentioned Global Goods, which you've said that before, like when we did our perfume class, and you shared, because that's why I'm thinking you're the best at teaching this, because you were militant about finding the best. Can you speak to why Global Goods? Because here's me. I know there's people, because I'm one of them, be like, I'll just go get my stuff at Costco.
Right. I'm really good about looking at the USDA organic database. They have a database. They allow you to validate who is organic or who is claiming to be organic. What I like about certain companies is that they'll list all of their products. Instead, some companies will list that they have an organic certification for, let's say, their beeswax. Mm-hmm. But then they have a whole website full of products that say it's organic, but the USDA organic database doesn't show all of those products. So when I'll buy something like Sky Organics that, I know that in the USDA database, they've got a few things on their organic. I just go on blind faith that, until I can find a better one, I'll use it, because I'm trusting that since they're in the database, there's some type of scrutiny. But what I appreciate more when I go and say, okay, this is the product I'm recommending, it's because they've actually listed that product in the USDA organic database, saying that this coconut oil is organic. We verified it, not just their vanilla and then nothing else. Okay. It's vanilla, coconut oil, and the 50 other products that they might offer.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yep. All right. And then the next thing so I know coconut oil is an oil, but this is required in the mix if you want it to be fluffy. If you don't, and you just want to be able, you just want to kind of dig it out, kind of like what's our ointment called?
The animal sense.
Animal sense. You get it's thick like that. If you don't put coconut oil in it, you can put more oils in it to loosen it up a little bit, but it doesn't get fluffy. All right. So now I'm moving on to what I call my oils. You can put as much of these oils in your mix as you want. It is really dependent upon how oily you want it to be. So I just, that's why I recommend in my recipe, I start pouring. I think I say like use an ounce, but I just start pouring. And then if I don't like it as I'm mixing it, and I want it to be a little bit looser, I'll put some more of these oils in here. So one of them I use is sweet almond oil, Sky Organics. I generally use jojoba oil. Jojoba oil is most closest to the oil that we excrete from our own body. But I ran out of jojoba oil because I used it in my lip balm I just made yesterday. So I've got grapeseed. Grapeseed and jojoba oil are very similar in viscosity. Grapeseed is a little bit thinner than jojoba, like just by a hair. It's not going to change anything. I just like to put a couple oils in there. I can just put almond oil. It's really on you. The one thing you want to do, you can just use mango. You can just use shea. You want to butter. You want to add that coconut oil to make sure it gets fluffy, and you want to carrier oil. It's pretty simple. These are just the ones that I use. And then lastly, I put in essential oils. And like I mentioned, I use lemongrass and lavender. I use 20 drops of each in this particular recipe. This recipe makes 32 ounce. This is a 16-ounce jar. I'll fill 2 of these with what I'm making. So for most people who don't use butter all the time, this is a lot, right? You probably only need half of this. I've made some for my friends. 4 ounces is enough. They take a little 4-ounce container and they're rocking and rolling. They're happy with what they have and it lasts them forever. For me, I can go through 32 ounces in probably, I don't know, a little over a month. I use a lot. All right. Any questions? All right. So then I have a scale, a handy dandy scale. It's just a kitchen scale. I put my bowl on it, turn the sucker on, and then I start measuring out ingredients. Oh, I didn't show you how the butters come. Excuse me. So the butters, when they arrive, for the most part, they'll look like a block like this. So I really don't measure. I gave you guys, I gave measurements as part of my recipe, but I mean, I cut this thing into 4s and I call it a day. But we're going to measure today because we're doing a class. So the mango butter, one other thing I want to specify. This is yellow shea butter. There is a ivory, which I've used ivory, but the yellow shea has an added root, and it makes it a little bit more moisturizing than the ivory shea. There's nothing wrong with, I loved ivory shea. I used it before, but I just said, hey, let me try it since I have, dry skin. I want to try it, and I did, and I like it. So I've just continued to use it. So this is our mango butter. I'm just going to plop it in the bowl. And I'm pretty sure, yeah, I cut very well. This is 4.1 ounces. So 4 ounces, good to go. That's the end of that. Then our shea butter. Now, sometimes you get this shea butter and it might feel a little bit thicker. Sorry, a little bit harder. Shea butter is harder than mango butter. But when you get it, sometimes it actually feels softer, which I don't know the reason for that. But I've noticed that this shea butter that I just got is softer than the mango. That's the reason why I added mango, was because I wanted to include a softer butter. And I got to cut a little bit more. So I'm doing 4 ounces of each of these. All right. And then just wipe that off. Let me put this to the side. And then now I'm going to add my coconut oil, which is, I like to zero this out, at 2 ounces. So, 1 second. I don't like to mix my butters in my containers. And I just realized that this is a different container. So now I might have to go get another utensil. See if I can get this out. Not working. Oh, all right. This is gonna work. So I'm just pulling 2 ounces of this coconut oil. It's a little softer than I expected. So my spatula, which is very bendy, is actually working, which is cool. And when you're we're gonna blend this out in just a second. And you don't put your essential oils in until the end, because you don't want to blend those oils up too bad. You just kind of want to mix them in when it's time. All right, a little bit more. Does anybody have questions while I'm digging this stuff out of here?
Of course. Do you use this on your face too, under your makeup, or before
No, bed? I don't. I don't put this butter on before. I use rosehip seed oil and red raspberry seed oil, a 50-50 mix on my face before bed.
Right, wait, here's me. Hold up. Rose hip seed?
Yeah.
I use red raspberry. I'm like, I have not heard of rose. I've heard of like putting, like, I will brew rose hip tea to wash my face. But tell me about this goodness and why do you use it?
The rose hip seed is, you gotta look that one up. That one's a really good oil. I that one has a lot of God, I want to remember all the vitamins in it. It's like vitamin A, K, E, X, Y, Z. I use the red raspberry because I know you use that one, but I use it because one, I use it in the morning after I wash my face, and it's a good sorry that took so long, guys, because that I should have had my spoon. I didn't have it. I use that one because of the sunblock. It's a SPF.
Yeah.
But the rose hip seed oil has just a boatload of vitamins in it.
Okay.
And so I prefer that one over the ones where I can just get A or B or E. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm looking it up because you just told me to, and I have a computer right here. And I'm like, holy crap, I've been just using vitamin E.
Yeah. See, I want like one that has, and I know vitamin E has other properties to it, but I want one that's got, you know, if it can be like all encompassing, then I'm going to use that. I'm just going to buy one of those and just use that.
You guys need to look this up because forget CBD oil. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right.
So like I said, I don't.
Rose hip seed, and what was the other one?
Red raspberry seed oil. Yeah, and I get organic. There's red raspberry. There's a guy on Amazon, and I can post this in the chat. But there's a guy who makes. I get the organic. The organic wasn't easy to find initially, but he finally started producing it. This is all he makes is red raspberry seed oil. He makes a traditional or conventional, and he makes an organic. And I can post those in the site. And then I use organic rose hip seed oil. 50-50 blend I do of both of those. So this is what your ingredients look like.
Oh, okay. Just to tell you guys too, just to add on what she's saying, red raspberry seed oil is it's got what, like 40 SPF in it?
50.
Okay, so it's pretty high. If you're making your own sunscreen, and you know, if you happen to have a kid who had melanoma, you might want to have that, or you don't want to get the melanoma.
So here's a story about red raspberry, and it's because it's rose hip and red raspberry, so you have to correct me if I mess this up. Anyway, the red raspberry seed oil is, I've used that exclusively, and I shouldn't say that, but I have used it exclusively as a sunblock. I live on 15 acres. We work outside all the time. So we're constantly working. I'm constantly I'm constantly in the sun. My husband is white. So he's always in the sun, right on his thing. And he comes in here and he's all red and he's just jacked up. And I'm like, dude, I told you, use this oil. He's like, well, you didn't put it on me. So we tested it. I'm like, I realize that I've got a lot of melanin. I'm dark. So I might not show that I've tanned as easy as he will show that he's tanned or burned or red. So I tested it. One day he didn't put it on. And the next weekend or a few weekends later when he mowed again, I put it on him and he had no issues. It was high summer. So it's high heat out here, high sun. We've gone to Wyoming where it was really abnormally hot in Wyoming last year. And you're closer to the sun, obviously, because of the elevation. And he just got jacked up until I started putting this red raspberry seed oil on him. I was putting it on every day. He got so badly burned, but like I said, we started slathering it on him after like day 2, and it just, I mean, I didn't get burned at all. I didn't have any. I might have gotten a slight tan, but that stuff is magic. I'm telling you. I love that stuff because I have zinc oxide in I was going to make some sunscreen, but this stuff has been working on its own, so I haven't made any yet. All right, long story. Apologize.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. These are my butters and coconut oil. I'm going to, like I said one out. I just add. I pretty much just wing this one because, I mean, you can use an ounce, but I would always, if you don't like it, then it's kind of like, you know, if you're a chef, you just start, it's an ounce, but it's really a cup, you know? I don't know. Yeah, you're like, that is not an ounce. So,
actually.
Right. So I'll put more in here. Now, I will say, this is going to get loud. So I'm not sure how you want to do this, or if you're okay with it being loud, because you got to blend this stuff for a while. You let me know how you want to do this. I did show you how to put it all in there.
So you want
but
me
I
to
know
do while you're doing that, and then
I can, and maybe you guys have some other stuff you want to chat about, and then I could just kind of give you guys a peek at how it's looking. Or
yeah.
maybe I wish I had a better like setup. I don't have like a tripod and all that, because I would love to show you what it looks like. In fact, I probably can, because I only need one hand for this. So let me plug this in, and then I'll grab my phone and kind of show you guys what it's looking like inside the bowl.
Okay.
That works.
Do you
Okay.
want, I'll go ahead and mute you because you said it'll be loud.
Yeah, you can mute me.
Okay. So, do you guys have any questions on other DIY stuff? Did you all catch her video she did yesterday on like making a lip balm? That was good. While she won't be able to hear, but I want to share it to We're Oily, because she talked about mixing that, and I love that she said if she can buy it, she usually rather do that. But the lip balm was so easy; it literally took her 5 minutes to do the whole thing. Have you guys ever made your own lip balm? I mean, she made so she didn't use beeswax, and she said it wasn't because she was vegan, but she said because it makes her lips like more peely. Have you guys had that? Right? So she used something else. I'll ask her what it was. So maybe she can post those recipes. The other thing I wanted to share with you guys, hang on, I wanted to have these out. Please hold. Oh dear. Actually, I'm out of it. Have you guys used Melissa Pepping's chemical-free home books by any chance? She has a ton of DIY stuff in there. I'm thinking about Jennifer looking at your, you want me to type it in? What is it called, Trish? Chemical-free?
Is it chemical-free living or chemical-free home?
Oh, shoot, I just privately did that too, Jen. Sorry.
It's Melissa Peppings.
I want to say, yeah, she's got 3, and I wanted you guys to, you know what I'll do is, when Nicole comes back, I'll look it up and I'll put the link in there. But she's got 3. So she's got one for babies, so babies and children, which is great. She's got one, volume 1, 2, and 3. Thank you, Maribel. The first one is basically like going DIY, chemical free in your whole house, all the DIY. And the second one is more personal care products, right? Am I making sure I don't get that flipped? But it's cool because she'll do everything from, like, if you're pregnant, or if you guys know anybody who's pregnant who wants to put oils on their belly to keep from the stretch marks, or pre-birth, after-birth, all that kind of care, umbilical cord care, like every single detail of personal care that you can think of. Then there's using a soft scrub in the house. There's mopping your floors and all these kinds of things. Using a Thieves household cleaner, it's brilliant. I mean, it's really a fantastic find. And I want to say, hang on, I'm just going to go ahead and look while she's doing that.
I can see on Amazon. They don't look like they're selling new versions.
Say that again, Jen?
They're on Amazon, but they doesn't look like they're selling new versions. So it's like not available, not available.
Oh, okay.
Not
Here, let me
available.
post.
I have the website, Jen.
Do you have it? Can you post?
Okay. Go direct.
Are you on the shop site there,
Yes.
Trish?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Go there.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has chemical-free home for face and body,
Mm-hmm.
and then for housekeeping, and then for baby and mommy.
Right. And so, I have it right here. So the thing is that obviously, like all things, it's less expensive if you buy more. So one book is $10, 5 books is $40. So if we had enough people who wanted to do that, I could purchase those and then get them out to you guys. It would be, it would lessen the cost a little bit, or if you guys just want to order your own, that's fine too. But if you know people, in fact, just now I'm thinking, note to self, I know a couple gals who are pregnant, so that would be a really sweet, that with some Thieves cleaner, or maybe a seedlings wipe or whatever. Oh, that was the other thing. In the baby, she has a whole recipe for baby wipes, which I use are seedlings to take off my makeup. But it's, maybe not everybody wants to spend that, and they want to make their own. And it's kind of fun to make your own and put your own oils to it. Not even a cost thing, but really just having your own scent, which is super, super lovely. So, yeah. Okay, are you seeing that, what she's doing there, that mixing? So I thought it was fun, and I was going to say to her how she doesn't cross-contaminate. That's not my wheelhouse. I'm like, I don't know. I just made some vegan cheese sauce. I'm going to wash that out, and then I'm going to make my butter. Maybe I should, right? Do you do that too, Jen? You're like, anybody else?
I would do that. I wouldn't have separate. I mean, it depends on how. I guess it would depend on what it was.
But I'm wondering if, because she said she had such bad eczema, and I think if you're trying to really fix a problem, that you wouldn't want to have anything in it, anything cross-contaminated. Because I don't know if you guys ever made something and it goes moldy in your shower or whatever. Nicole, we were just talking about how
yeah, I know, I could hear you. It wasn't as loud as I thought it was going to be. The reason why I don't cross-contaminate is bacteria. So just like I was saying that, with lotions and when water is added to a product, it needs a preservative. Because I'm not using preservatives, I just want to minimize the chance of bacteria. Now, granted, it probably takes bacteria a couple weeks to grow, or a couple weeks. So like in the example of that foaming hand soap that I make, Jen, that if I don't put the thieves cleaner in it, in 2 weeks, it has strains of bacteria growing in it. I have a picture I can share. I haven't shared that picture. I only shared it with you, Jen. But yeah, I made one with the thieves cleaner in it. It's just like a half a cap, and one without. And I let them sit for 2 weeks, because I had been experiencing, when I used the Dr. Bronner's in just water, that after 2 weeks, it would get real cloudy. So I tested it, just Bronner's with water, Bronner's with water, and half cap thieves. And it's like overnight. The next day you wake up, the strains of bacteria are just in there. So that's why I don't cross-contaminate. That's why I didn't cross-contaminate. I don't think that when you're making oils or DIY, if you're using the stuff in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, that it would cause any issues. I don't necessarily have any other example other than the Bronner's where I had a bacterial growth in anything else I've made. But again, like I said, I don't use kitchen stuff on that DIY.
Yeah.
The one thing about I want to say this is the Healthy Home, the Melissa Pepping book. I do have that. You sent me one.
Yeah.
And there is a laundry detergent recipe in there. I do not recommend you use the bluing agent in that recipe.
Okay.
That stuff had me itching for, like, I had to wash all my clothes, and I know it was that. It was the only new thing I used. So just be careful of that. That website boasts that it's all natural. They've been using it since the 1800s. Just something in it. I called them and said, "Hey, what's your biocide?" Biocide is a preservative. And so they say, on their website, they've got all kinds of information on there. They've got their MSDS on there. Like, you can clearly see that it's, that the ingredients in there are good. But unfortunately, synthetic preservatives are also good. So it's, they're not necessarily considered sinister. So when I called them and asked them what their biocide was, they said it was all natural, but they couldn't find the actual name of it. And I should have known at that point. Not that I don't think that they're making false claims to their customers. It's just something that I'm allergic to. So just be cautious of it if you end up using it.
Can I ask, Nicole, you said you use some laundry detergent to help with odor.
I said, oh yeah, the laundry detergent. Okay, so I'm gonna put this to the side. This isn't done yet. I blend this. I just sit here and blend this until this thing like rises to the top. I won't do that while we're here, but I wanted to show you how it fluffs up. And it'll get fluffier than this. I'll finish this after we're done here. So I'm gonna set that to the side. The laundry detergent you asked about, correct? I'm going to laundry detergent. I use...
Oops, sorry. You didn't put the oils in yet, right? Into your butter?
No, I have not put the oils in. So so I'll finish that.
Sorry.
So no, you're fine. So I'll blend that until I'm satisfied. I do not put the oils in until after I'm satisfied with the quality of the whip. Meat quality meaning we use butters, and those butters are fairly hard. I like to get as many of the chunks out as possible. Now, there are some people who make body butters who double boil their butters. They melt their butters down, then they put them in the refrigerator to cool them off a little bit. Then they come back and blend them. So that means you'll have no lumps in your blend. I don't do that because I just don't want to heat up my butters. I don't want to lose any nutrients in the butter, even by accident or by chance. Maybe I heated it up too fast. That's the same thing I was talking about with refined mango butter. You can only heat these products up, these butters up or oils up to a certain temperature before you just kill all the good stuff in it. I don't know what that temperature is. And I don't want, so I just stay away from it. I like the benefits that the butter gives, and I don't want to lose that because I accidentally, made it too hot while trying to melt it down. So I blend. I might sit here 15 minutes or 10 minutes blending until until the chunks in it are very small where you can't even see them. Even if you did, once you rub your hands together, they melt fast. So it's not a big deal either way. But I blend until I get those chunks out. And then I put the oils in there, and I just, I run it probably 30, 60 seconds to make sure it's all incorporated. And then I'm done. I start to bottle it. So the laundry detergent, let me see what this recipe is. So I got this recipe online, and it is made, this is a gallon container. I think people have seen this before. It's where people make home brews and stuff like that. I love this jar. I use a 1/4 cup Thieves laundry soap, a 1/4 cup washing soda, a 1/4 cup baking soda. Now, the purpose of baking soda or the purpose of washing soda is to make your hard water softer. That's the purpose of washing soda. And then the baking soda helps eliminate odor. So the baking soda and washing soda can do that as well. Both baking and washing soda can do the same thing, or from an odor perspective. So I like to, ensure that I can get those odors out of my fabrics with the baking and washing soda. So 1/4 cup washing, 1/4 cup baking, and a 1/4 cup Thieves laundry soap, 2 tablespoons of Thieves cleaner, which is essentially an ounce. And then I put 4 drops lemon essential oil and 4 drops Thieves essential oil. Sometimes I go over that. It's whatever. But I will say, in order to make this recipe, you do have to put some warm water in the base of this first to incorporate your washing soda and your baking soda. You want to make sure that this just looks like water when you put those 2 ingredients in there. So put the hot water in there first, baking, washing, let that all dissolve. Then put your laundry soap in there. Then put your, you can put your drops of essential oil in there. Then the rest of this is just water, clean water. And I've used this now for quite some time, for a few months. I made one like this, and I put that bluing agent in it. And so I had to give it to my mom because she's all toxic over there. She doesn't care. So when it started making me itch, I was like, hey, I got this whole gallon of laundry soap, and I know you're on a limited income. So because some of it's just an allergy, right? Some of it I just can't use. I don't, it's not that the bluing agent is necessarily toxic. It's just I'm allergic to it, clearly. Something in it I'm allergic to. So I gave it to her. She uses that, and she told my aunt that she loves it, but don't tell me. Whatever. Yeah, because she doesn't want to go non-toxic. She's like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't know what you're doing.
Better than my Tide.
Exactly.
Hey, Nicole, on the laundry soap, because I'm glad to talk to you face to face about this. So you were commenting that laundry soap thread, man, that got to be so good. Now I'm gonna go buy new pans and
right.
all clean.
That was a great thread.
That was good. So this, you would use like so to that you would just add then the washing soda, baking soda. That's only different. Is that it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Ask that question again.
So comparatively, like the one that I posted from my friend, you would just add, is it
Oh, yeah, it could be the same. Yeah, you can absolutely. I don't know because it's 32 ounces, how much washing or baking soda you would add.
Okay.
I was surprised that a quarter cup in this gallon worked because before I was using Thieves laundry soap by itself, and then I was putting a cup of baking soda in like a gallon size water container, shaking it up to dissolve it, and then putting that all on my clothes. So meaning I was using a whole cup per load back then before I made this blend. And now that I have this blend, it's much less in there. But my laundry is because remember I was having kind of an issue too with the Thieves laundry soap. Getting my husband, he was wearing toxic deodorant. He just now transitioned to non-toxic, but he was using toxic, and I was having a hard time getting that deodorant out of his shirts. And with just Thieves, and this is working really well.
Okay, and that jug is what, like 64 ounces?
This jug is a gallon, so that's I don't know how many ounces is a gallon.
I'm like, isn't that 64?
No, it's 128.
120.
Okay.
64 is half a gallon.
Twice that.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Yeah, 128. Perfect.
Hey, Nicole,
Christy's
asking, do you use tap water or distilled in that?
I couldn't remember, that's why I didn't say, but I'm like 100% distilled in everything. So I'm pretty sure I use distilled.
Okay.
Don't quote me, because in my mind I was thinking, well, first of all, I have the literal worst water here. I have an RO system. So it was either my RO water, which is like my city, I have well water. My well water has like 1,000 parts per million in it, which means it's like never drink it or you're going to die. And then my RO water is like 19 parts per million. So it's almost distilled. Distilled is 0 to 1 parts per million in the water. So I'm using either distilled or I'm using a really clean reverse osmosis water.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
So, yeah.
Okay. Yep. You're heating?
I'm sorry?
Does that help? You said you're heating it. Does that help with getting it mixed? Mine's separating.
Yes.
Crazy.
Are you using that recipe?
I use a similar one with these. I use a similar one with these where I distill it, and I don't put the baking. The baking soda I put in separate. But I was just using cold distilled water.
Warm. You want warm in order to get, like, I put some on the stove and I don't let it boil, but I can see the heat coming off of it. And so when I do that, it dissolves the sodas.
The sodas in the soap without foaming up really high. Because even your foam on that's not that high.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, that's good.
And it doesn't separate. Now it might separate a little bit at the bottom, just a little. It's not a lot, but every time I take it out, I do this. It's not a huge, like, I don't have major separation in this. I've actually not noticed separation. I think I just shake it because I think, well, I just blended a bunch of stuff that I don't know. Do they agree? I know they agree in the washer, but I don't know if they agree in the bottle. So I just shake it.
And tell me again how many drops of oil you put in that big gallon?
I just put 4 of each. You could put more, but I personally don't think it needs the oils. I just put them in there because I know lemon will help. I like the lemon in there to help it. Maybe it'll keep my colors bright.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know it's a phenomenal oil on its own, but I don't know, after in a washer with all those clothes and all that water, how much 4 drops in a gallon is actually doing.
Well, and to be fair, I think DIY, and I'm sure you would agree, it's a mindset shift. So
yes,
white clothes, way back in the day, my grandma and her grandma didn't have pure white clothes. It just wasn't a thing.
Yep.
So now we're like, oh, it has to be sparkling white. And
I don't even wear white. I'm like, and that's the thing about detergents too with the optical brighteners. I've noticed like no difference in my clothes because I no longer use toxic laundry soap.
right.
Like, what are the optic brighteners actually doing?
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're doing because my clothes look the same. Whites, I don't wear white. I know my husband does, and he's like, I need a bleach. Well, you better take him over to Wanda's house because she's still using bleach over there, but we ain't using bleach over here.
So she's using your laundry soap.
Yeah. So now but it's been doing great. This blend of the soap has been doing fantastic.
I just am curious since he switched his deodorant. How are his
Oh.
shirts now?
Well, he still has all his old ones, so they're pretty. We're buying, like, we're starting to replace his shirts because of all that damage. I just, it just started happening too. I mean, he's always worn this deodorant, but they changed the formula or something, and it just started really messing up his shirts, and we couldn't figure it out. I was trying to encourage him to go natural with his deodorant. And he just wasn't into it. He really wanted to wait for colder weather because he's at work and he gets, they get all worked up there. So, as soon as winter hit, he was on it, but he still has those shirts. The deodorant he's using right now is not impacting his newer shirts, but his old ones are still, you can only get so much of that stuff out of there. Now they're just stained, I think. I would call it stained.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
we're
think
busy
of all
replacing
the
them.
questions that I have. Like, I have you here. What else do I need to ask you?
I have one.
Jen,
Okay.
do you have something?
Did you say you have a dishwasher detergent? So I have super sensitive skin, and my husband had cancer, and my kid has super sensitive skin. So we do a lot of organic. Everything has to be sensitive skin. Like, I do Korean. I get stuff from overseas just because there's nothing in it. So, like, dishwasher detergent's been my hard one because the only thing that cleans it, you have to, like, scrub your hands after you put it in the dishwasher.
I don't. Yeah, I do use the here's the trick. So I use the Thieves dishwasher powder. I know some people don't like it. Some people have said that it leaves spots all over, and not just spots, because spots are probably expected, but it leaves it film. That does not happen to me. I though have very soft water. I also, when I put the detergent in there, when I put water in it. So I put water, detergent and water, because when I was using just the powder, it was kind of getting stuck in there. I don't think it was really dispersing. So I tried less. It was doing the same thing. So I started putting water in that little cup dispenser where I put the powder, not overflowing it, but just a little bit of water in there to get it working. And I haven't had any issues. I know some people that use Thieves Cleaner. I'm kind of surprised about that. I know Thieves Cleaner is the best. But when you think dishwasher and you're putting a cleaner in there, you're like, how is it getting around? How is it doing its thing? But that's a mindset thing. So some people have used Thieves Cleaner. I think it's Thieves Cleaner, not the laundry soap. Like, I have to go back and research that. But I believe it's Thieves Cleaner. Yeah.
I've done that.
So Thieves Cleaner is an option. I love what you said about when you go, because it's that's one of the things I have on my mind to post something about, because my question for people are, when you put your laundry in, do you wash your hands after you're done? Well, I know they're sneaky close, so you might wash them, but I'm washing my hands because I just touched that laundry detergent. When I'm putting dishes and when I'm putting my dishwasher powder in the dishwasher, do you wash your hands after that? If you do, you shouldn't have to. You can, because it's just a natural thing. Sure. But I love the fact that I can put dishwasher powder in, put laundry detergent in, I can clean my counters with a clean towel and know that if I didn't wash my hands, I'm not, something bad isn't going to happen to me.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that.
That's so funny. You're right. It's a mindset thing. So I'm thinking, well, I do wash my hands, but I'm like, I don't need to.
Right. It was just something I thought about, because I'm like, well, I really don't have to, but we just do it because it's natural to do something like that.
Which is funny, because if you're using toxic cleaner and you go wash your hands with toxic stuff, it's like,
so it's like, what's the point? Yep.
Don't do that.
Exactly. Don't do that.
Does anybody else have any questions for Nicole?
I did. How much of the laundry soap does she use in her load?
Great question. So it was originally recommended to use a quarter of a, let me not say that. Hold on, let me look. Where's my little recipe? I use more than this. I'm going back to, yeah, I was recommended to use a quarter cup per load. I use more than that. So I kind of measured out a quarter cup. I'm like, is this enough? And I'm like, no. So I have a little dispenser where you put your liquid laundry detergent, and a quarter cup for me, and I know everybody's washer is different, was like just above the words, right? So it wasn't max fill. It was like it filled up the tray, and there's like these words there that say, you know, how much you should fill. And I go past that. So I want to say I'm probably using, I don't know, that's a quarter cup. I'm not using a half cup. Probably using is it 3/4?
A third.
A third. Thank you. Yeah, a third.
Okay.
I was trying to do math. My husband's standing right here. He's a numbers guy, so I'm like, what is that? Is that pretty hard? A third of a cup.
I love that because I know all of our Thieves stuff is so concentrated. That's the one thing I've tried to get across to people is like, get the Thieves soap, the foaming soap, but then you take the refill and then you put like quarter to a third of the bottle and then fill the rest with water. You don't have to fill the bottle. Yep. The laundry soap I've used just a tiny, tiny little bit of it because it works. But what I love is that you and then my friend Rose have broken it down to where, oh my gosh, that Thieves laundry soap, it makes it so inexpensive. $7 for the 32 ounces. That's amazing.
I think the hardest part with the laundry soap is that people get it and the bottle is small. Right. And then the cap is small. And there's these numbers on there, 1, 2, 3. And that one is at like a quarter of that cup. Yeah. And nobody can really fathom that. In fact, it's like, did it even come out? You're like pouring it, you're like wanting to scrape it out of there. So that's why people are DIYing it, right? Because they're just like, our minds can't shift to less.
Yeah.
And, you know, this makes it easier to have it in a blend like this because then, you know, I do have water in my mudroom, but this is already diluted and like so now I can just pour. I can't over pour it. I can't really under pour it. You know, I just pour it in there and I just go. I don't have to really think about, you know, pouring it out and then, oh man, I did a whole cap by accident and, you know, figuring all that out.
Yeah.
That's why I like this particular blend.
Well, and I like the pump too, because I have children who do laundry and so and they try, but I love to be able to say, okay, it's 2 pumps. And mine, they should be here tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's so
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yep. I think that's great. In fact, I don't like actually lugging this. I honestly don't like lugging this around. What I don't have though is an empty bottle. I want to use a Thieves detergent bottle. I gave it to my mom because it had that other blend in there. But you know, if I didn't have the pump was just fantastic. When I saw that, I'm like, what a genius idea.
Yeah.
But I would generally not say lug that glass thing around. That just would be where I store it. And then I pour some in an empty laundry soap bottle and just kind of, and use that. It's much lighter and a lot easier to maneuver. But like I said, that pump is, I'm like, can I get that? And I wonder how many pumps this is good, you know, this would take. Yeah. I don't know.
I know, I'd be curious to see. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. If you don't mind, in the event, just posting the recipe for this, the recipe for your laundry soap. And then I don't know if you heard me, but I would love to share your just watching you do the lip balm. What I loved about it is you made it so simple. I mean, it was literally 5 minutes and 22 seconds. That's what the video was.
Yeah, you got to get all your ingredients together, and then once you become good at it, it doesn't take long at all. I mean, there's people who do it in less time. That was a little bit longer because I hadn't done it as frequently as others have.
Yeah, that'd be great because up here my children get that like that red. I don't know if you guys ever get that, but just red. And so they've been using rose ointment. I'm like, could you guys stop using the rose ointment? Because then my daughter comes in and it's like all credit. That's probably $5 that you put on your face. Just saying.
You're like, go find the animal scent.
They're both right here, but no, they're like, Mom, I like the rose. I'm like, yeah, I bet you do.
Yeah, I bet you do. Rich kids.
I mean, they're the ones acting rich. Oh, word, those children. All right. Anybody else got anything for Nicole? I am so grateful that you are willing to come on and share your wisdom. This is so helpful.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm about to go make some lotion now. This is great, or some butter rather. Now I know the difference between body butter and lotion.
Yeah, no,
It's great,
Yep.
right?
thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. No problem. Happy to come back any other time.